Greetings and welcome here at Professor Herman Manyora's platform. My name is Simon Irungu, coming in with the big question. You know, Professor, before we began the show, I had you calling someone, you telling them that you are in a studio. Does this make it an outdoor studio?
African studio.
Okay, welcome to our outdoor studio, African studio, as Professor has placed it. Yes. Okay, so today we are going to be reacting to a video by a gentleman known as Albert Ouma. It was a video that was doing round. It was done by NTV in Mombasa. It was carried out after the BBI ruling. And Albert Ouma had a lot to say, you know. Let's go through one by one what he said. You know, he was saying actually the promoters of the BBI were people who didn't have the interest of the common mwananchi. What do you think?
Everything depends on how you're looking at it.
Okay.
Either you are looking at it using political lenses and you are the other side of where Ruto belongs and you rubbish BBI even if it is good, or you support BBI merely because you support Raila or Uhuru, or you look at BBI with eyes that are not very critical. You look at the surface. But then there are those who look at BBI critical and they can tell you it was a good thing for this country.
Okay, you could tell from the video that this gentleman was a supporter of Raila.
Yes.
But does that mean that there was quite a lot of supporters from Raila's camp that did not support this?
Of course, there will be people even from Raila's side who didn't support BBI. That's obvious.
Okay.
Just as there will be people on Ruto's side who support BBI. And that was obvious even when MPs were voting in parliament. People like Kimani Ngunjiri. From Nakuru, a diehard UDA, he voted for the bill and he explained why. Yeah.
He also said that the president has actually failed the country, and that's something that a lot of Kenyans are saying currently, that the president has not been able to deliver to Kenyans. What do you think?
There are two things. One is that BBI and the suffering Kenyans are facing.
Okay, it was a point brought about saying that the president is now bringing in something new, like the BBI, and he's not even delivered what he had promised to deliver.
That's what I'm saying. Kenyans are suffering, no doubt. Everybody knows that. Partly because of the bad leadership.
Okay.
But also partly because of what's happening in the world. And partly because of Corona. But let us stick to the part that you can place on Uhuru's doorstep. So yes, Uhuru has failed as a leader to mitigate some of the challenges we face. That's a fact. But I was saying you cannot quite easily link that with BBI. BBI was a big idea to come and address the issues that have made Kenyans not move forward in the manner they would have moved forward. Yes.
Okay, you've said that the suffering of Kenyans came as a result of, you know, something like maybe some things brought about, maybe like the COVID-19 pandemic, but the outcry also...
Global trends.
The outcry of Kenyan suffering came earlier before even the COVID-19.
I'm saying COVID is partly to explain.
Okay.
Uhuru's leadership is partly to explain, to explain the suffering. Global trends, world trends. We are not the only country which is suffering, my friend. Countries are suffering. The price of oil in America is where nobody ever imagined it would be, fuel. You see, organized companies, corporations are closing down. Jobs have been lost across the world. This is a global thing. It is partly because of Corona, even at the world level. Today, there's a war between Russia and Ukraine. That is also responsible because it's affecting crude oil prices. Then you can hear somebody here in the village talking like somebody in a bar that Russia has nothing to do with this suffering. It has everything to do with some of the problems we have. The price of crude oil, international, not Kenyan oil, international, the price of oil in the international oil market is directly affected by the Russia-Ukraine war.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now that got me thinking about the Ukraine war and everything that is happening to fuel, Kenya going short of fuel. And very recently, the recent years, Kenya discovered oil in Turkana.
Yes.
Now I'm wondering, at this point we have oil in our own country, but we're still experiencing the same problems with people who even don't have oil.
You don't even have oil. Why don't you say countries like Angola? There's a fuel crisis in Angola as we speak. But with all the oil, Nigeria, a big oil producer, a member of OPEC, but there are issues of, including long queues. You saw queues here, you call them queues. Those are not queues.
Actually,
there's chaos in Nigeria and they produce oil. Hii yenyu ya ngamia zijui hapa Turkana mlionja hata hakuna mafuta mlipata. Even if it continues for another 10 years, you will not even have oil. this thing calls for seriousness on the part of the leadership of the country. One of the things I've said, we need to examine the costing of petrol. Must we put every tax into a liter of petrol? The answer is no. Some of these levies and taxes must be removed. Government will have to remove some of this, beginning with VAT. Remove immediately. That 9% or whatever it is, remove it. Look at things like road maintenance levy, 18%, 18 shillings per litre. Remove. Remove 9 shillings per litre on VAT. Remove those. So, if you remove the road maintenance levy, remove VAT, you are already almost dealing at getting the size of 30 shillings off the price of petrol. And there's a little more you can still do. And do other things like put up a refinery, buy crude oil and not refined oil. And all those kind of manners, things you can say have to do with the leadership of the country. And I hope whether it's Ruto or Raila who wins, they must move in that direction. Okay, now a part of the video that actually did rounds on all social media platforms, when it was when he said that that these politicians are doing shopping in bulks with credit cards in expense of the local mwananchi, paying taxes to them. What do you think about that? Of course. This is a man-eat-man society. Kenya is a capitalist state. And capitalism is a man-eat-man society. Okay. There will always just be across the world. The wealth of the nation is owned by a miserable percentage. Less than 10% of the population own more than 90% of the wealth of the nation. That's the global capitalist trend. So Kenya is no exception. Unless you want to overhaul the system, this is a capitalist system. But what people say, and that's how politicians come in and elections come in. Yes, we are in a capitalism, but can it be capitalism with a human face? Can we mitigate the suffering of Kenyans through even legislation? So that man who is complaining, when he goes to vote in August, I don't know his name, you call him what? Albert. I don't know, I don't know. Somebody, please, if you are listening to me, make this video reach that man called Ouma. When he goes to vote, he's going to vote for a crook. Maybe he will not vote for a person who will move into parliament to try and remove some of these levies on petrol. Okay. It is MPs who allowed government to load VAT on petrol just the other day. This guy is the one who elected those MPs. He's going to elect another MP like that one. Okay. So there can be interventions to make capitalism have a human face. That's why in some countries, the poor cannot be allowed to die because of cold, because of hunger. They can be put on the dole. There's a welfare state. There are things that are done for the poor. Free medical, free quality medical. See, come on here to Okora. Free education. And a few other things to mitigate the suffering of the poor. Because they know capitalism can be very rough. You remove some of the rough edges of capitalism. And that requires political intervention. And that's why before that man talks, he must answer himself. Whom did he elect to parliament? Okay. You have mentioned, I am sure if Kenyans elected serious people into parliament, some of this suffering will go down. Yes. I don't care what people feel. I don't care if they suffer. Let them suffer. Because when they are given a clear choice between an individual in a constituency who can make a difference and a crook, they go for the crook. How do you pinpoint and say this one is a crook, this one is a... But we know. Who doesn't know? Who doesn't know? If I stood for elections in my constituency, people should know I can deliver. I have proved in public space. If I am in that parliament, government will not have its way. And if you are people like me in that parliament, government will not do the things it's doing. We'll put government to check. There are people like me and I'm not alone. But if I stood for elections, chances are they will elect for any other crook instead of me. And I'm not saying because I want. I'm an old man. I don't want to go to parliament. I don't want to be elected in any position. But I'm saying, let us not complain yet when an opportunity comes to you to get your MCA. Because that MCA will ensure devolved funds reach you. But you're going to elect a crook. Or worse still, like where I come from, you will elect somebody who gave you 50 shillings. Okay. You have mentioned something to do with 10% of the people owning the nation or running the nation. Everywhere in the world. Isn't that what William Ruto is coming in and saying, you know, bottom-up approach? Which? He's working towards increasing the
the opportunity down here.
He's still talking of, in fact, there's no more talking of trickle down more than Ruto. He's the one he's the king of trickle down. He's saying, I'll trickle down 50 billion. Inatoka wapi 50 billion? Anatoa hapo chini. Si anatoa 50 billion huko juu, anapeleka chini na trickle down. Anatoa 100 billion in a trickle down. So he's the master of trickle down. The king of trickle down is William Samoei Ruto. Because wherever he's addressing people, he's saying, I'm going to trickle 50 billion down. I'm going to trickle 100 billion down. I'm going to put 20 billion here. Trickling. He's the king of trickle down, trickle down, trickle down, trickle down. He's not telling me how he's manufacturing the money down there. No. He's saying you'll get money from top, drop it down. Who is the king of trickle down? It's in William Ruto.
William Ruto.
Yeah.
Okay. He also mentioned something to do with Raila being controlled as a robot. As per now, where we have come to, as we approach this general election, is it fair for some people to be thinking that Raila is actually being controlled like a robot?
You know, you cannot deny the fact that Uhuru is supporting Raila.
Okay.
Now, how you interpret that is your own problem. There are people who see that as Uhuru putting Raila there as a puppet. Mudavadi says that. Remote control. That's what that guy is saying.
Yeah, that's what
remote control.
Robot.
And Ziga, we used to have something, you do like this. And
and
the things dance. And Ziga. No. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's, you can choose to see it that way. Others may choose to see it differently. That Uhuru is just supporting Raila because there's something he knows about Ruto that he doesn't want Ruto to go to State House. He could also be doing because of self-interest, which is nothing new in politics. But if you are to interrogate that thing critically, you need to start by asking yourself, who is Raila Odinga? Because Raila Odinga has not just sprung on us. Raila Odinga has been around for a while. Before you were born, Raila Odinga was around. His record is like a book. You can read it. You don't have to find out who Raila is. It's everywhere. Then you ask yourself, this Raila, can somebody control Raila? Can he be somebody's Kikaragosi puppet? The Raila that we know.
I don't know about that.
So again, I'm saying it's a question of how you want to be critical. If you want to allow yourself to be cheap, you can go ahead and say Raila will be remote control. But then if you ask yourself, Raila is larger than size.
So it depends with how...
Raila is a monument. How can you control Raila? As a puppet, Raila? Maybe somebody else. But working with Uhuru, yes, they are working together. But you can choose to see that as Uhuru controlling Raila. That's your problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I quote from the gentleman. He said Raila has to wake up from thinking that the state will make him president. What do you think about that hard statement?
I even met somebody yesterday who was saying, Manyora, I can confirm to you there's no deep state. We will beat Raila hands down. There's no deep state. Again, it depends on how somebody wants to see it.
We did a video and you said that there is deep state.
Yeah, somebody was saying that. So what this gentleman is saying that Raila should wake up, that there will be no state to
make him president.
Make him president. Again, you must go back to Raila, the man, and Raila, the politician, and Raila, the presidential candidate. And it's there, you open the book and read. In 2007, many people believe Raila won the election. We have 2013. We have 2017, including the Supreme Court talking. Does Raila look like a person who needs the deep state to win an election? Raila is a person who would pray that there should be no interference for him to get the trophy that he has always gotten, but denied him courtesy of manipulations. And therefore, all Raila will be praying for is that this time round, let there be no interference. Not from the state, not from Ruto. Okay. You get it?
Yeah.
Raila's history tells you he doesn't need the deep state to win an election. I mean, I'm talking about facts. I'm talking about figures. I'm talking about the man. I'm talking about a man whose power is evident, whose ability to get votes is evident. And I'm saying that kind of man cannot be waiting for the deep state to make him president. I mean, somebody else maybe, not him.
Okay, well, that has been a conversation. We were actually reacting to Albert Ouma. Albert Ouma, wherever you are, I think you should give Herman Manyora a call. Maybe you guys should have a conversation.
I would want to meet, and in particular, I want to tell Ouma, tell other Kenyans, the ball is in their court. The power to change things is in their hands. when we go into an election, elect that MCA not on the basis of the 50 shillings he has given you, not on the basis of clan, not because he comes from your side of the constituency, but because in your thinking, he's a man who will change. Part of the suffering we have in this country is because we don't have a parliament. And we have elected men and women and put them there. And they have gone there to sleep. So, elections are in August. Uma, tell others to fill that house we call parliament with the serious men and women.
Well, till we do have the next episode of The Big Question. My name is Simon Irunga. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do it. It will cost you absolutely nothing. And what are the advantages of subscribing to the channel? You get to get the notification and maybe you be the first viewer of the video. Well, till you have this conversation again, enjoy the rest of your day.